Hey folks. Hey folks, Doc here. It's Thursday afternoon. It's been a lovely day. It's been a busy day. I ended up with today off work and I decided to get some stuff done to Boss Haas. That would be the 1967 Wheelhorse 1067 that's getting the diesel engine, the project that I just started. And I have also entered in the All-Terrain Lawn Tractor Forum build-off competition. Now, originally, you saw that I put those little pizza cutter tires on there, and I started to take the front suspension apart last night. Fool around with some ideas, and it was a little stiff and it wasn't articulating, and as I was putting on the pizza cutters, all four rod ends literally fell off. They were bad. So I figured, okay, I'll take the front end the rest of the way apart, and some stuff happened. Alright, welcome back. Okay, so as I was taking the front end apart, like I said, all four rod ends just went kaput. It's some old stuff, 1967. I don't think they've ever been replaced. Just ridiculous. Anyways, I was trying to drive the front axle pivot pin out, and it was seized, and I do mean seized. I couldn't drive it out for love or money. Then out came the Sawzall, and bad things started to happen. Yep, the axle hit the shop floor, the steering arms hit the shop floor. One of them fell out because the C-clip was missing. And I thought, well damn, what am I gonna do about this? Time to start ripping through the parts piles. And the natural solution would have been, shop for a new pivot pin, possibly even replace the axle, because I still haven't driven that bloody pin out. And I thought, no, we're gonna get a little creative. Let's have a look, shall we? A wise man once said, if you're fool enough to break something, be smart enough to know how to fix it. I fixed it. Yep. You got it. Yeah, here it is, folks. Boss Haas's new front end. Took a bit of work, but there it is. It's all there. It's all welded in, and I even got the steering done. There's your big hint right there, Polaris. So what we have here is a McPherson strut and single A-arm setup off a late 90s, don't remember the year offhand, Polaris Trail Boss 250 two-wheel drive. And well, this is definitely Boss Haas now. Got Trail Boss parts on here, and oh, she's gonna be mean. I'm going to go ahead and pull the hood off this thing so you can get a better look at what's going on. So with the diesel engine bolted down, I've actually got to lift the front hood mount up about 3/4 of an inch because it is hitting, but that's pretty minor. So there it is, kids. There it is. That was actually a fair bit more work than I was anticipating, but it's in. The engine is bolted down. That is where it's going to sit. I do have enough room. Once I figured out the position of that shock tower, got it loosely tacked in, I had to take a bunch of measurements, and I built these support struts that go to the dash upright, which is pretty strong all on its own, and those things are level with the bottom edge of the hood. That's not to say they're against the bottom edge of the hood, but they're level with it so you don't have any weird angles going on. And I have just enough room to maneuver that engine in and out. I actually am best to turn it 90 degrees and kind of tip it up and pull it out, but it does come out. That was a little bit of a concern of mine, which is why these tubes are curved and come out from the dash instead of just going on an angle inwards. Otherwise I wouldn't have been able to get the engine out, and that just would have been silly. So after the axle fell out on the floor and all that jazz, Jesus, that was exciting. Yeah, I wasn't really planning on that happening. It was a let's pull it apart and, you know, see what the mock-up looks like, and that turned into, well, hell, I guess I'm doing it. So a couple of little points of interest along the way. You can see down there I've got the ATV subframe basically welded up to the tractor frame once I determined the ride height. She does sit pretty level, which is something I wanted to achieve. Not interested in any kind of nose up attitude, or, you know, a little bit nose down would be okay. But, you know, I don't want that stupid lean thing where you're facing uphill on level ground. So, once I calculated how high this thing was going to sit, or at least ballparked that I had the engine sitting on it for weight and all that stuff, I kind of figured out how high or how low I had to space that subframe down. And there you go. I notched out the frame and put in these reinforcements to make room for the tie rods so that the suspension could flex. It wasn't moving very far before the tie rods were hitting the frame there, so I basically notched out the frame and then welded in the supports. Mounting the engine, I left myself enough room, just enough room, for the pedal to clear the recoil and for the tab on this thing to clear the shroud. Not a hell of a lot of room. I've got about 3/8 of an inch at best, but it's enough. So I still got to raise the hood a little bit, and I got to deal with this decompression lever because that's going to hit the hood too. And I think I'm going to do the same thing I did on the Diesel Weasel, and that is grind the welds out right here, flip the lever down, and then re-weld it back on, and that'll help that clear. And then, like I said, raise the hood about 3/4 of an inch, and that will be okay. Oh yeah, here's something else I did. This is the stock fuel tank location for this machine, and of course I don't have a stock fuel tank because every damn wheel horse I get is missing the bloody stock fuel tank. That's a little annoying, but it is what it is. I figured out I've got enough room up here to put the fuel tank that came with this diesel engine. Just got to build some brackets and whatnot, so that's okay. This space here, I don't have enough vertical clearance to put the battery. If I had an AGM or a gel cell that I could lie on its side, which I did with my last wheel horse, is I lay down a gel cell, then that would be cool. But I don't currently have a gel cell, and my budget doesn't currently have a gel cell. So there we go. Batteries under the seat. I had to notch the frame just 1/4 of an inch on each side to make a nice little pocket for the battery sit in. There's tons of clearance over top of it so the terminals don't hit anything, and all I have to do at that point is just build a little retainer strap so that it doesn't bounce around. I'm not 100% sure on the seat yet whether I want to put it on some sort of spring thing or have it sitting flat, which is why I haven't trimmed those bolts yet. But the seat also has to be lifted up because we are touching the rubber. Figure 3/4 of an inch or an inch will do it. Maybe a little bit more radius here, don't know yet. Might do some mud flaps too, I'm not sure. So there's other guys out there on the YouTube and on the Facebook that have done front suspension on their off-road mowers, and some of them have done a pretty good job. Hick Life Customs is one of my favorites with the Bushmaster Sears. That's a blue Sears Suburban, also with the diesel engine, and I believe his is turbocharged too. That might be an option for me in the future. It's not something I'm willing to examine right now because this thing's just going to be chugging along the trail having a grand old time, no big deal. Anyways, yeah, I'm certainly not the first one to do this. I'm definitely not going to be the last one. But I thought, what the hell, you know, it already articulates. Let's just kind of bring that up to the next level. And since I'm throwing parts on the shop floor that, well, again, Sawzall, anger, maybe an adult beverage, I don't know, it went away. I had thought my next move after having bolted the engine down was to go ahead and figure out belt lengths and all that and get this thing able to move itself. Apparently I was wrong. Anyways, one of the elements I'm killing myself on here is trying to figure out a paint scheme for this thing. Now, part of me is saying, well, let's kind of preserve the wheel horse heritage and do something red. And part of me is saying, next to that, let's do something crazy. So, I'm going to put it out to you. I'm going to read the comments down below the video. And if you think you've got a good idea for a paint scheme, let me know. If you want me to stay with red of one description or another, let me know. If you've got a neat idea, I'm all ears. Because right now, well, frankly, it's probably the last thing on my mind. I still have a ton of work to do to this thing. I've got to lift the hood, lift the fenders, lock the rear end. I've got lights, I've got wiring, I've got controls, all kinds of stuff to do to this thing before I break it down for paint. So I've got a little bit of time to think about it. So now's your opportunity to weigh in and let me know what you think I should do for the paint scheme on this thing. Anyhow, there's my little update on Boss Hoss. Thanks for tuning into Sprocket's Garage on YouTube, and until next time, take care.